welcome to Petrolheads London and another one of my rants. Welcome to Road Rant. As I said, these are just a bit of fun, so please take them in the vein they're meant to be. But today's one is average speed cameras. So I'm here on the A4 in London, which is a relatively main road, and they've turned this into average speed. So it's 40 miles an hour, which is fine for here. But I think the thing that gets me is sometimes you need to go a little bit faster to get yourself out of danger or away from obstacles or people who don't know where they're driving or those vans with orange flashing lights. And it makes people, I think almost driving at those average speed limits, and I think not necessarily here but further up where it's a bigger road, it's a 3 carriageway road and they're running it at 50, people get bored, and I actually think that's quite dangerous. Their mind wanders and they're not concentrating on what's around them, the speed that vehicles are moving. To me, actually, that's more dangerous than driving 5 or 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. Now, I'm not condoning speeding in residential areas or, where there are problems, but cars have moved on a lot since speed limits were invented. And I know I'll get a lot of, ranting about people, where there've obviously been accidents and, people have lost their lives. And I get that, things like speed cameras, which we've just gone past one here, they're usually put in places where there have been accidents in the past, and I get that. It slows people down where they know there are accident black spots. But the average speed cameras, I'd love to see the figures to see how that supports that, but I can't see how it actually reduces risk that much. I mean, for those odd drivers who were going ridiculously fast, unlike this guy who's driving ridiculously slowly, yes, maybe it slows them down and curtails that kind of behaviour. But I think for a lot of drivers, it's almost the behaviour that they're not concentrating as much. That kind of mundane sitting at 40 or 50, I think actually probably throws up more issues. So as I said, cars have come along a lot since speed limits were set in the 1950s when they couldn't handle going as fast as well. Tyre technology wasn't as good. Braking technology certainly wasn't necessarily as good. Okay, I know that doesn't change one thing, which is the driver. I do think training around how to drive cars and bikes and stuff has got better, but that is the one sort of single point of failure, right? But the fact is bringing down these speed limits to such low levels, but also I think on longer distance roads, that's where I have the issue with it, where they have these long drawn out pieces of average speed limit. Makes people concentrate more on not going over the 40, 41 miles an hour than actually on driving and what's around them. So if you were to stray over it, I know it's average, so therefore you could probably do a bit more in one bit and drop down to like 38 or something before that. But I still think it's just a really difficult thing to ask people to manage, and they just don't know, and I think people are scared of getting caught. Well, and a lot of the central London roads now, they've put average speed cameras in, and to me, speed cameras used to be around kind of highlighting accident black spots, and so therefore slowing the traffic or controlling it a bit more where there had been risk of or have been previously accidents. And that doesn't seem what its aim seems to be these days. If you look at what they're doing, just going to move out a bit, overtake these cars. If you look at what they're doing, they're placing them on main roads into central London. The ownership of these roads for the speed control has been taken over by our our local government, and it feels like a money-making exercise. It really does, because the cameras here have to be bright yellow, really obvious, because the whole idea is it's not about trying to get people for speeding. The whole idea is supposed to be about alert people to where there are potential dangers or have been in the past where life has been lost. And actually these new cameras, they're yellow, but they're like this big, they're really high up, and they're kind of designed to, well, I think, catch people out, and it feels like a money-making exercise. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand. If you'd hit by the speed limit, you wouldn't get caught. But I do think there are times where your speed might vary, and I don't know how accurate the average speed camera capture is, but from my point of view, having ridden motorbikes for, most of my life, I know that sometimes accelerating out of danger is a far better option than braking hard, which causes a wave of braking behind you or, potentially other people who aren't paying attention. One of those things that feels like it's not there for the right reasons. And I also think that some of the roads in which they're on are, they're calling them 40, and potentially they're faster roads. They're almost like A roads. They don't have a lot of turnings off, there's not a lot of obstacles, and so they're kind of giving it this blanket speed to gain more money by catching people speeding. Thank you for watching Petrol Head to London. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you've got suggestions for anything you'd like me to talk about, just let me know. These are supposed to be a bit of fun. Cheers.